Well, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, with another edition of Bookward Bound, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And what am I talking about getting done? I'm talking about getting the publishing, the self-publishing of a brand new book called NONFICTION BRAND, Discover, Craft, and Communicate the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. Getting that up on Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform by January 1st of 2021. Yeah, that's the goal I set myself and started working on starting on Friday, March 5th of 2020, which was, as I look at my little cheat sheet, let's see, today is the 13th. So that was 252 days ago. This is episode 252. And that means I've got 49 days left in this little adventure. Sorry, I'm doing what I should have done before I went live, which is actually figure out the dates. Yeah, episode 252 with 49 left to go. And this book is toast or done. I shouldn't call it toast, I suppose. But I'm happy to say that it's in really good shape. The last time I compiled the book, which is taking it out of Scrivener and turning it into a Word doc that is optimized for 6x9 inch books, it came out to 277 pages. Now, I don't think it's going to end up there. I think it's going to tighten up some, but let's say it ends up about 260 pages or 265, something like that. That's actually over my goal of 250. So, yay, things are looking good. But time is passing quickly, and I have to keep working on this book. So last night I worked on a brand new section that I think fills in a hole that I noticed about kind of this whole story about the 301-day journey, how it got started, hearing Christian Small's story about 191 days, yada, yada, yada. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you'll have to get a copy of the book and read it. But I think I needed a section that actually filled in the gaps in some of that. So that's exactly what I wrote here. A section called Jealousy plus Inspiration equals an Unbeatable Combination. New book in 301 days. Because that's what I'm doing. Because this is right after the Christian story was incredibly inspiring to me. But the thing that made this book happen came from a far less uplifting emotion. Jealousy. In fact, the jealousy that started this whole write a new book thing. Wait, in fact, the jealousy started this whole write a new book thing rolling. I can keep that all in one paragraph. As I mentioned earlier, I had heard all about Christian's 191 day quest at social media 2020. But that story alone did not make enough impact to make me actually put pen to paper. So what did? Receiving a copy of my friend Melanie Diesel's brand new book, The Content Fuel Framework. Smoking hot off the press, Melanie graciously gave me a copy of her first book. And while I was tremendously excited for her, I instantly developed a bad case of author's envy. In 2017, I wrote a book about how Melanie had inspired me to up my social media game after hearing her as a guest in an episode of Grant Baldwin's the Speaker Lab podcast. Then when I saw her at Social Media Marketing World 2018, I gave her a copy of the book, and we took the following photo together. Then, in 2020, we inadvertently recreated the photo. Let's do a long dash. Only this time it was her book given to me. That simple 2020 photo was the match that lit the fire under my posterior and set me on a 301-day live stream Journey for the book to create the book you hold in your hands. While Christian Small's story provided the inspirational fuel, it was Melanie Diesel's book that actually sparked the fire to get the book done. And frankly, that's how creativity works. High-minded inspiration often requires, I'm going to hit that. That's a big idea. High-minded inspiration often requires the base emotion of envy to generate the energy that enables execution. The Beatles' 1965 album Rubber Soul blew the Beach Boys' Brian Wilson away, literally forcing him to raise the ante with pet sounds. With his, was it 1965? Let's look that up. Gotta look it up. Beatles, Rubber Soul, Wilson, Pet Sounds, Revolver. A nervous breakdown. Yet. That's confusing.
We were told about this group from England called the Beatles.
Have you heard Rubber Soul, man?
This rock and roll group has taken over as the kingpins of musical appreciation among the younger element.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Oh, I want to do an album like this, where the whole thing's the gas.
The success of the Beatles was like a huge, it was like if you were surfing and all of a sudden it comes a tidal wave.
All good stuff with like a theme, you know?
It's kind of scary. We were very jealous, of course, of the Beatles.
They're not the Beatles, they're only girls.
45 singles, that's over. This is where it's at now, man.
It was very humbling, because we had been,
Hey, listen, Brian, nobody's asking you to be the Beatles.
on top there, for that year or so before.
Beatles. It's all these crazy kids ever think of us, the Beatles. First go back where they came from. You mean England? No, under a rock. Yeah.
I know it really kind of challenged us in a way.
I've had occasion to meet some Beatles, the individuals, and I hold nothing against them. They're handsome, but they're also transcontinental, and I don't like that.
Paul McCartney said it was his favorite song.
Really?
Perfect song, or some such thing. Didn't
Wow.
He?
Okay.
Said something, right?
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up one more time for the Beach Boys.
I think of Pet Sounds in my head, then I think of Sgt. Pepper's.
Wow. Okay.
And I think, gosh, that's not... Those two albums aren't very alike at all.
Hey, listen, Brian, nobody's asking you to be the Beatles.
Only in that they're very creative.
Wow. Okay.
In a way.
Hey, listen, Brian, nobody's asking you to be the Beatles.
Paul McCartney, for instance.
I was into clean sounds, maybe Beach Boy kind of things at that point.
They must have picked up on the creativity of Pet Sounds, not the sound.
Their imaginations fueled by their increasing intake of mind-altering chemicals. Their imaginations fueled by...
Maybe Beach Boy kind of thing.
You're confusing me now. Rubber Soul, Wilson, Pet Sounds. Okay, 66. Masterpiece. Up the ante with his 1966 masterpiece Pet Sounds, which then inspired the Beatles to create in Sgt. Pepper. Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts, 1967. In 1967. Some people like to claim that it takes steel to sharpen steel. That's exactly what exactly the dynamic at play here. So what's my point? Embrace the envy. Jam off the jealousy. Ignite the power of your work by finding the people that make you scream, I am not worthy, and take that emotional energy and apply it to you, to your efforts. Former, put it this way, here's a secret. Sent the UN. I don't know if that fits here. No one is inherently better than you unless they aren't afraid to get off the couch and get going. You aren't. You are when you are. Put it this way. The former First Lady of the United States of America put it this way. Here's the secret she added. I've been at probably every powerful table that you can think of. I have worked at nonprofits. I've been at foundations. I've worked in corporations, served on corporate boards. I've been at G summits. I've sat in the UN. They are not that smart. What said is true of everyone you think is smarter, better, cooler, sharper. Let's leave cooler out there. That doesn't fit. Sharper and more talented than you. They aren't. But what they are is persistent, disciplined, determined, and undaunted, despite their Fears, I want to come up with a different word for despite there. Open up the good old dictionary. Fear. Despite there. Despite there. Line angst. They aren't, but what they are is persistent, disciplined, determined, and undaunted despite their natural. Despite their fears. Why make it complicated? Don't overly complicate it. The most important thing they've learned: to silence the critic inside their head just long enough to get stuff done. Dang it. The only difference between them and you they started get stuff to, I think I made that point. They aren't. And the most important thing they've learned: to silence. To be afraid to put yourself out there. Natural. But for some reason, many able to compartmentalize See, I'm just repeating myself. Stuff done. Very, like, very concept. Personal. Is most tasteful and comfortable for many. Why? For many. I totally understand why. Complete. I understand why. We're taught from our earliest years that we're no better anyone else. Concept I completely agree with. But many misinterpret that lesson to mean I have nothing special to share the world. I have nothing special to share with the world. Others do. Others do. Others do. Others do. The famous ones. Others do. The famous ones. But many misinterpret that lesson to mean I have nothing special to share. That is complete. Completely, that is fundamentally totally false. When you're putting the truth, who you do, how you do it. You're sharing the honest truth. Do it, and how you do it with open heart, That is fundamentally false. When you're sharing the honest truth of if, not when, but if you're sharing it, you do it. Not everyone. I have to say. Not everyone is going to be enthralled. Say. That's okay. The ones that do. That's okay. The ones that do. Don't. Entire world. Just a little part of it. I'm not digging this. The very concept of personal branding is almost distasteful to some, and uncomfortable for many. I understand why. We're taught from our earliest years that we're no better than anyone else, a concept I completely agree with. But many misinterpret that lesson to mean I have nothing special to share with the world. That is fundamentally false. If you're sharing the honest truth of who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Not everyone is going to be enthralled with what you have to say, but that's okay. You don't have to please the entire world. You don't have to please the entire world. You don't have to please the entire world. But sharing what is uniquely yours. You're adding value. Positive energy. You're adding value and positive energy to a society that really use it. Yeah. Always win. No. Who is guaranteed a loser? Right? Person who doesn't even you won't always be a winner. You won't always win, but you know who's guaranteed to be a loser, right? Doesn't even. Right? I'm not digging this stuff terribly much. But that's okay, because as I said, this book is pretty much written, and now it's all about what I like to refer to as finished carpentry. You know, all the walls are up, drywall, the stud walls, the drywall's on there, but now there's a lot of painting and tiling and finished carpentry and crown molding and wainscoting and all that stuff that needs to be done. And that's what I'm going to be working on from here on in. But right now, this section, I got it drywalled in, but I think some of the drywall needs to be pulled out and replaced with something better, because some of the miter joints aren't as tight as I would like them to be. Some of the seams are a little bit off. Yeah, am I working this metaphor a little too hard? Yeah, probably. But that's okay, because I can come down here tomorrow night and work on the book, which, of course, I'm going to, because I still have 49 days of this to go. And that means I have time to work on this book, and I'm going to. Every single night, around this time, every night, in order to keep the book moving forward. Tonight, you saw me do some writing and some editing, a little bit of this and that. Tomorrow, I'll probably try to finish up this section, and then I really need to hit the editing hard, the proofreading hard, the not quite the final formatting, but let's call it the preliminary formatting hard, and also things like the order of the book. I think I really need to look at that. So I'm going to be doing that over the next several days. But for now, I'm done, because I've kind of hit a wall, hit a drywall. Yeah. And so I'm going to give tonight a rest and come back tomorrow. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast. I'll be editing a brand new episode tomorrow for posting on Monday, this following Monday. And I think it features Mike Alton, who is a really cool digital marketing expert and also a personal brand who's gone from 0 to 60 in a big way. And the conversation in the podcast will be all about that. So keep an eye out for that. You can find the Nonfiction Brand podcast wherever you get podcasts for free. So check it out. And that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, theme music, take us on out.